Good morning, Chaturvedi sir. Please continue today's sessions of National Building Code 2016 Part 4, especially smoke ventilation management, fire prevention, protection and life safety of India. So you can start with R.C. Sharma sir. Then lots of fire experts, professional fire officers are joined as soon as possible. Shukanta Sethi sir is also available from Odisha, Chief Fire Officer. So please start. Carry on. Thank you.
First of all, very good morning to R.C. Sharma sir. It's my pleasure to having you here on this platform. R.C., I would like to have some introduction. इंट्रोडक्शन की जरूरत नहीं है आरसी शर्मा साहब के बारे में. इटसेल्फ वो एक फायर सर्विस में एक उनका अपना एक पहचान है, नाम है. ही इज हैविंग ए वर्सेटाइल एक्सपीरियंस इन इंडस्ट्रीज as well as in building fire safety. He is a fire safety and disaster management professional, ex-director of Delhi Fire Services and DIG of CISF Fire Services. So in such personality, today we are getting more things, and sometimes it happens the faculty is having only NBC or building expertise. Today we are having a versatile expertise experience, Mr. R.C. Sharma sir. So R.C. Sharma sir, आज का जो टॉपिक रहेगा तो वो स्मोक वेंटिलेशन में आपसे हम थोड़ा जानेंगे, और उसके बाद बीच में मैं आपको थोड़ा परेशान करता रहूँगा, क्वेश्चन आंसर फेंकता रहूँगा, और मुझे आशा है कि आप हमारे क्वेश्चन आंसर का जो एज ए मॉडरेटर, आज इस डिस्कशन में मैं मॉडरेटर हूँ, तो कुछ क्वेश्चंस मेरी तरफ से रहेंगे शर्मा साहब के लिए. उसके बाद जब मैं क्वेश्चन मेरे कुछ समाप्त हो जाएंगे तो ओपन टू ऑल प्लेटफॉर्म हो जाएगा. आरसी शर्मा साहब से जो भी पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं स्मोक मैनेजमेंट वेंटिलेशन के बारे में जो भी वो क्वेश्चन करेंगे, बाद में वो सेशन में हम कर सकते हैं. तो अब हम शुरुआत करते हैं. आरसी शर्मा सर, now we want to hear initially welcome to all participants, and what we want to आपकी आवाज कम हो गई है. The purpose is Fire Safe Bharat, Fire Safe Gujarat. Underwood sharing is caring. Please instruction. Okay. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
First of all, thank you, everyone who is responsible for organizing this program, especially judicial fire. For some of the gadgets, probably a lot of echo is coming. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the thing is, well, I don't consider myself an expert still, even about more than 45 years or more experience in this line. But yes, I like to share my experiences which I have undergone during this set-down period, and especially I'm going to relate all what I have experienced personally in the various fire incidents. We have faced many problems, and probably whatever is written in the book, whatever is there in the NBC is one area, but when we really go into the fire and we have feel the heat and smoke, then what experiences we do get that gives us something, maybe at times it is altogether different experience. So in that context, I would like to just say this thing is that we in the fire services, state subject again. Some states have got act, some do not have. Some have got act, but they don't have the rules still in the formation. Now things are to that extent they are different in different states. But one thing is very common, that fires keep happening, and we have to fight the fires. And in the process, we have to ourselves gather our information
information, knowledge, experience, whatever is available to us. And one thing I have seen, or experienced in my lifetime is that one is when you go for firefighting, it's altogether different. You don't know many of the go to the fire scene after the incident. We learn so many things that we never expect. And at times we end up in having certain informations that if we could do this, it would have been so easy. If we could that, it would have been so easy. So many incidents where we had huge loss of property, like Vijayam Bhavan fire. We had huge loss of manpower, people. Life was lost, like Upar Cinema. I myself was there then. Now, when we end up with this sort of experiences, the one thing which I gather from this is cause of fire may be anything. There is one area that helps us in preventing the fire in the future. If we have got this information with us, which are the areas for improvement, what we should do, what we should not do, I think that is one area. So when we try to reduce the number of incidents, that is the fire prevention part, then probably the cause of fire is very important. And that is not easy to be really found. Even in other criminal cases, people set fire to the area to destroy that things. And when we are going to attend a fire, evidence and everything is normally destroyed. So that is, I'm not talking about that because going to the cause of fire and investigating is an altogether different thing. We are not able to do that judiciously. We cannot do it because we don't have power to do that. We don't have resources to do that. We don't have powers to call the people and question them, record the evidences, and then it's a very time-consuming, a full-time job. So all the fire service in the country, they are short of manpower and very few people at senior level. So now that is something I feel it's very difficult to do, difficult to implement. So what we depend on is whatever information which is gathered by the person attending the fire, maybe station officer level, sub-officer level, or whoever is going on in charge of the fire. So whatever feedback he gives in the fire report, that becomes our data. So there is something that if we get that information slightly correctly, and maybe not immediately just because after the fire, but if we have a second look at the fire, then probably maybe after the fire is fully controlled, then we can get better information in that regards. So that is one area I wanted to just mention. Now coming to cause of death. Now one thing is, if somebody asks me that in your whatever 45, 60, 50 years of the career in the fire service, what you have learned the most, or what is the most important thing? So the most important thing, especially for the life safety, is the smoke. Smoke is the killer. You know, every fire you just look back, you pick up the things. AMRI hospitals are there, a very common thing. You go to any of other fire incidents, barring one or two incidents, like we had a Dabwali fire incident in Haryana, where a temporary sort of shed was there, which was having highly decorative material inside, caught fire. But again, the shed was not having ventilation, and there were thousands of students and their parents and teachers. They were having some program, annual school function, and they were not having enough means of escape. So there again, the thing is that when fire took place, the total heat caused everything to on flames suddenly, and burning things were falling on their head. So there, about 450 odd students and other people, they died, and most of them because of burn injuries. Because there was a stampede, they could not get out. Means of escape was the problem there. So no, that was one fire incident where people died, and the cause of death was because of burn injuries they sustained during the fire. But they could not get out. That was a different reason, because of stampede, or they didn't have enough means of escape. So that was the area where otherwise, other than that incident, I have not come across any other incident where people have died because of burn injuries. Maybe if we get some, maybe you got a oil industries, for gas industries where some explosion takes place, it's a different issue. But normal fires happening, I think that is what we have come across, that fire causes a lot of smoke, and that smoke, if it is not ventilated properly, then it leads to so many other problems. And it is not only the death. See, when we look back into the number of incidents we have faced, small and big, I mean, we can make out that wherever there was a ventilation possible, because of any reason or other, automatically something was available there, or some part of the building collapsed, or something happened, then probably things were much better in that situation. Some of the fires we have seen recently on our group, we are seeing those fire incidents. Many of the fire incidents are so nice as a fire officer to extinguish. I mean, you're standing outside, flames are visible, and you throw water using jet, maybe monitor from the fire engine, or maybe any ladder, ALPs, or whatever it is. I mean, you can see the fire. You are standing in light. You're standing on a main road, and you can fight the fire. But those are the fires which, okay, they don't have much problem to us. The problem for us are only those fires which are inside the building, and if they are not ventilated, smoke is not able to get out. If smoke is not able to get out, then the problems start from here. Is that one is that the people inside the building, they don't see, visibility is gone, they are not able to breathe, and threat of life is there. So everything they start doing is that is not really proper. So if that is the case, when we come across, that means that even the small incident can be a big problem. If there is a situation like this, and smoke is not able to, we are not able to ventilate. And ventilate is not even, fire inside the building. But in some of the cases, what we saw that a fire in a Arkipuram, in a staircase meter, electrical meter, the smoke going up into the building. I mean, it's not a high-rise building, it's just a 4-story, ground plus 3 floors, 4-rise building. But smoke has gone through the windows inside, and people were sleeping, boys were sleeping. Some 3-4 people and an elderly fellow. And probably they were to be hospitalized, and 1 or 2 of them collapsed also. Now, this is what the smoke is killing. So ventilation we talk about now. When we talk about what are the requirements, now NBC gives everything. If you just have a look at part 8 of NBC, then the building services section 3, it gives all the information about what is the type of ventilation, how you do it, how you don't do it. So this is a different area altogether. What is required nowadays is not the problem. We can just Google it, or you open the NBC, we got on our laptop, so we can just look for what is required. But now, what I'm trying to do here is just trying to, within those available facilities, available experience and knowledge to us, what is happening and what I feel is the major concern to us, and why we have lost so many lives. That is what I'm trying to share with you. Quoting the example of Upar incident. What happened there? Evening around 4:58, around 5 o'clock, the show is on. Fire starts at stilt floor, and smoke finds its way into the cinema hall through certain areas. Okay. Now, and the areas were mainly basically behind the screen. Some passage was there, smoke to go up, and then 2 staircases which were connecting to the upper floor, balcony and upper floor. I think everybody is aware of the cinema hall was on 1st floor and above, and stilt floor was the parking and electrical substation and other areas. Now here, fire was not inside the cinema hall. Fire was outside the cinema hall, in that sense that it was on stilt floor. Now, from here the ventilation of cinema hall and ventilation of the premises, total premises, there are two parts in that way. So if now, when you talk about ventilation, then segregation becomes very important on that. If you try to ventilate some areas, then probably segregation of certain areas becomes essential, rather important. Otherwise, because what we want to ventilate, if there is a fire in an occupied space, then we think of ventilating that fire. That is a different issue. But fire is in not in the main building, not in the floor, affected a floor which you are talking about where life is there, people are there, but it is outside it. Then it is not ventilating this particular area, it is ventilating the outside area and having segregation of that. So that is what is required when we talk about ventilation as a very important factor. Talking about going back to that Bhopal incident, the transformer was a transformer supplying power to the whole of the colony, not only to the cinema. Cinema hall also it was supplying power, a separate transformer for the cinema. That was also getting power from this source, but this platform, this transformer was belonging to the power generation agency, that is DESU at the time. Now thing is, locating that transformer, I'm talking generally because how ventilation will be affected if the transformer room was having access from the outside the building. In this particular case, it was having access from the street floor, where cars are parked in front of it, through a rolling shutter door. So that was the main reason, that it was not having any ventilation to the outside. The rolling shutter was having normal the GI sheet, the things, but then ventilated the grills on the middle part of it. That means when the transformer caught fire, whatever any reason, we forget about that. When transformer or any other electrical equipment for that matter catches fire, smoke is bound to be generated. If the smoke goes out, doesn't enter the premises, that is the best, and that can be done segregating that, having entrance of the transformer or electrical substation, everything from outside. That's why after this incident only, one of the recommendation for the cinema hall was that transformers, electrical transformers will be located outside the building, or if they are located inside the building, they will be fully segregated. If they are in the basement, they will be having separate access, fully segregated. Again, firefighting facilities, whatever is there, will be required as per whatever electrical rules are there. So that's how. That means that when we talk about ventilation, it's ventilation in totality. We have to see if you are able to control the hazardous area, segregate it, we will not be needing that sort of huge ventilation facilities into other areas where life is at threat. So, segregating the risk or hazard from the life where the people are likely to be there, they are present normally, I think that is one area. So, ventilation and compartmentation, they go side by side. And so, when we talk about ventilation, locating the electrical areas, electrical substation, electrical transformers, that becomes more important. Having separate access, number one, not having access into the common areas or maybe the common floor, so that is the much better. And if at all it is there, then it has to be again whatever 2 hours, 4 hour rating doors are supposed to be there. But whenever there is an incident in that, you need to ventilate that particular thing. We need to ventilate the electrical transformer so that smoke goes out, it doesn't come inside in the building. So now here is the one area from this, and the incident we are talking about, it's not only the fire, smoke which is creating problem to the people inside. See, if the area is smoke filled, and when we go to attend the fire, we cannot enter the area because of the smoke, and it is hot smoke, mind it. So we can, we have got breathing apparatus. We can put on breathing apparatus and enter the area. Now, if we enter the staircases or areas which are fire is on upper floor, we find that even total smoke is filled in the staircase. Now, we have seen such incidents. So we go with the PA at 3-4 people with a maybe fireman X, keep on breaking all the doors onto the staircase, all the windows, window panes, so that ventilate that area, and you keep on going up, you keep on ventilating, and you just go up like that. Now, this is what is ventilation I'm talking about. So we have to, when we are doing a plan of any building for that matter, if it is having a glass facade, or it is having a central AC building, then you have got a fixed glass all over. And when we are talking about this, even to our cinema, the main reason for 59 deaths, I can say with authority because I was very much there inside the incident. Although I was in the inquiry committee along with the Delhi police or DC concerned, or maybe whatever other inquiries were conducted. In that I was there along with them. So what I saw that the space behind the balcony, space behind the upper floor areas were having fixed glass on the very large size window. It's about 3 meters by 2 meters or something like that. So as a result of this, whatever smoke came through the stairs into this foyer area behind the cinema hall, that could not escape out. And on the terrace again, the door was closed. So there was no, we are talking about 2.5% of the area smoke ventilation. Well, it could be there, but it was not open. So whatever smoke came into the staircases, it was blocked at the terrace level. Then it started filling down, and the balcony, the doors were there open, and other lower tier, then it started going into the cinema hall. So now this is what. So now if we talk about ventilation, then ventilation is of the area which is involved in fire. You ventilate it and segregate it. If it finds the entry into the other areas like the staircases or means of escape, then we have to keep the staircases and means of escape free of smoke. So here comes the door. If the doors are available and they are closed, or there are no opening into the staircase from any other place, then only we feel that this can be done. So here in this case, the ground floor, there were some glass was fitted on one of the staircase at about first floor level. So big glass pane, it was broken during fire, or I don't know, it was something happened. In fact, Mr. Derry fell from that through that glass only and had some injuries on the collarbone. So what I want to convey here is a person can fall from there, the smoke has gone into the staircase from there also. So now these are the areas when we talk about life safety. Let's see that any amount of smoke, no visibility must be there for entry of any smoke from the lower area into the staircases or from any floor in between into the staircase. If staircase was free, not a single person would have died here. Because everybody in the cinema hall, they mentioned, sir, we were coming down and we found that somebody said, many people went into the toilets. And during that, even after that sort of episode, one husband and wife, they just came down. They narrated all this to us because they are the person who could explain how the situation went on. And they said, after that, sir, people were going into the toilet. We thought of going into the toilet, but then we thought, यहाँ तो मुश्किल हो जाएगा, so we go down. जैसे वो लोग नीचे आए हैं, they could come out without any problem. And mind it, many people, they went back, they stayed up into the foyer area behind the balcony. They went into and locked into the toilets. And there were two toilets, one in the balcony area, one in the lower stall. One of the toilet was full of the people who were suffocated. Other toilet was full of the people where there was a normal ventilator available. All they were still alive, they were saved by our ladder, ALP from that side. So what I'm talking to you is that how one of the toilet was still people remain okay because they had some normal ventilation. Opening was there. And other toilet on the same building, because smoke went inside and they were having all fixed things and there was no normal ventilation, there people died. So smoke is the biggest killer. We all understand about it. There is no opinion about this. Now, if we are able to keep our place free of smoke, number one, ensure that. Number two, if there is a chance of smoke is likely to be there, then probably we should have facility to ventilate. Openable windows are very, very essential for that. And this is the reason when I see the windowless buildings, they are central AC buildings. I find it really very, difficult how we are going to, if there is a fire, okay, you have a sprinkler system that will come in operation. It may be able to control the fire, but if once, suppose there is some reason that some delay is there or not functional or some wall is closed, and then smoke fills that particular total area. How we are going to do ventilation of that? So, when we look back on the existing buildings, when we look at
Sharma sir,
yes,
I want to ask you one question on this context that facade glass risk. How do you advise the risk of facade glass and why we are promoting these facade glass? I have asked this question to Dr. G.C. Mishra. Beauty, we are looking for only but it is going to increase the duty of firefighter and life risk to occupants. So why we should not give deep thought about whether these facade glass are needed in Indian context. However, in abroad also Greenfield Tower is also a burning example, and a lot of facade glass buildings fire. You analyze the loss of casualties is much higher end in
Yes.
comparison to non-facade buildings. Because
Yes.
earlier flats or complexes were like that. There is no facade glass. They are having a balcony and they are having big windows, and the smoke spread of smoke was not there due to the localized air conditioning system. So, two question is that whether these facade glass requirement or we need to promote it or we need to rethink it about. Second thing, what will be the best air conditioning system? It will be localized or centralized, because to reduce the risk, I have seen in a lot of area localized air conditioning system, outdoor system units are given. Please elaborate it.
Okay. Yeah, I understood the question. See, Mr. Chaturvedi, I've got a very firm opinion about this. You can have glass facade. See, we as a fire officer, we cannot put restriction on these things. Innovations, they want to do something. The biggest thing they achieve out of the facade glass is that the wall thickness is hardly anything. If they are able to save maybe 1 feet or 9 inches or 10 inches of area, now on a huge building, on the circumference on all around it, if you take 1 feet by that their total circumference or the perimeter of the building, that much square feet is available to them. That means a huge revenue generation for that. Probably that's easy to install, looks nice. Probably maybe some of us may say that we can save light, and maybe for the green building aspect that could be one of the area. No problem. It may be having advantages, and I'm not against it. What I'm against it is that if there is a fire, smoke is bound to be generated. And when you talk about glass facade buildings, now each building of different occupancy. I have seen some of the hospitals, centrally air conditioned hospitals, huge hospitals, and I tell you, if there is a fire in those type of hospitals, we have already had AMRI. I think that also had glass facade building. We had seen the glass facade was broken to rescue some of the people from there, which was never possible, which is never required, which is never desirable. So when we talk about any building, you can have that type of building. You can have central AC building with glass facade, but then you have to be 100% sure that you take all fire preventive measures. Number one, that fire will not happen. In case fire will happen, then it will remain confined to the area where it has taken place. So you'll be able to manage smoke from that area. That is not management of smoke only. See, it is one thing which we all have been talking, smoke management. It is not smoke management. It is the fire management as well. I give you one example. If there is a fire in one of the, maybe you create a fire in one of the room and you have a normal ventilator there. And we create a storage around it, all around the racks. If you ventilate that room, setting fire in that one area, then probably hot gases and smoke will start going out. I'm talking about natural ventilation. If that goes out, fresh air is coming inside. Maybe somebody may say fire increase hoga because fresh air aa rahi hai. Yes, perfectly right. I don't mind it. My problem is if smoke is not going out, the temperature of the ceiling will also keep on increasing. And if that increases, it will fill in the ceiling area. First 2 feet, 3 feet, 5 feet from the ceiling. And then at that time, when it goes about maybe 200 or it becomes little more than that, it will set fire to the whole of the whatever racks are there in that particular room. Now, if that is happening, then if the smoke venting was there, maybe natural ventilation, Smoke management is again a very hi-fi sort of language being used. I say simple smoke venting. It is not smoke venting; it is heat venting as well. So we can demonstrate it. And in fact, I had seen one of the such demonstration being conducted in Hong Kong in one of the seminars. They set fire into one of the big room created for this purpose, and they were sitting there with the 5 chairs and table, and the fire was set on one corner, and the ventilation was on, so that was going out. So no heat built up because. So now thing is, what we learn from these things are that smoke is killer. If there is a fire, smoke is going to be generated. Either you manage it, keep it confined to that place, control the fire, don't allow smoke to be generated, and don't allow it to spread to other areas. Now the type of building we do have, and type of central air conditioned building we do have. I have not seen in any of the central air conditioned building as of now a smoke venting facility provided there. Even in a hospital. What I have seen is they have got a central air conditioning system, AHU, which is supplying fresh air, not fresh air, it is air conditioned. And in hospitals, what they do is they don't get this air back. They supply fresh air, treated fresh air into the rooms, in the whole of the floor. So the air is leaking out from different places and it goes out from there. So when we talk about this central air conditioning system, and on part of it I see that they don't have a smoke venting system at all. So if they have got a smoke damper in AHU, and that is activated by a smoke alarm, what will happen? They stop this, but the smoke will continue to spread in whole of the floor, wherever this ducted supply is there, or above the false ceiling where there is no duct, and it will be filling the total area. What area is served by this AHU? So that means, and you have a fixed glass facade, no openable windows. Now we can understand what is going to happen. Especially in a hospital, evacuation is not feasible. People may be in an ICU, may be on life support system. Now, if there is a fire in such area and such a catastrophe happens, then we will have this thing included in our recommendation that glass facade building should not be there used for hospitals, because it has happened there, or in other buildings. Other buildings it may be a different thing. The hospitals cannot evacuate the patients. You cannot ship.
What about mall?
Yeah, that's why I'm coming to that. Let me come
because you have rightly said that hospital, we can think of that hospital evacuation is not possible. Like we can give it.
No, this is what, when we talk about hospitals, this is so dangerous, it's going to be so dangerous that you don't have a smoke venting facility at all. So now think of that. So this is one area. Second area is, you're talking about mall will be third. Second area will be all your business buildings, your office buildings. So you've got huge offices. You have got maybe 1,000 square meters, maybe 1 hectare or more than that also. A single floor of that huge size. And initially, we didn't have anything. We have buildings in Gurgaon and other places in Delhi where we don't have any openable windows. Now they have started, every 15 meters, they have started providing one openable sort of hatch. Somewhere it is hinged to the top, somewhere hinged to the bottom. Now it is not automated. It is not having any automatic opening system. It's a sort of manual openable latch inside. Now, assuming there is a fire in a door, I'm talking about office building, huge office building. There is a fire. Do you expect people to go and open some of the windows before they get out? Second thing, which side windows they are going to open? Because it may be wind direction, which is very essential to be looked into. If they open a window from the direction wind is coming, they'll be creating another problem probably. The smoke will be. Yes. So now, do we have any thought given to this? Which side of the openable windows to be opened in case of a fire on that floor? We don't have. This is nowhere mentioned in the code. Whatever ventilation or whatever is provided. In the the code it has come now that every 15 meters openable window will be there, because earlier it was not there. So somebody said we should have something. It is incorporated. This is half-heartedly this is done. But now we do not have automatic opening. It is not connected to automatic alarm. If we even do that automatic alarm connections, then we'll have to keep in view not only this, probably the wind direction at the time, and that is to be connected to your alarm system. Which windows, which side window to be open, which side not to be open.
Sir, can you excuse me? In a panic situation, when there is a fire, somebody is able to understand which window need to open or which window need to open. So
No,
it should be.
This is what I'm saying.
Sir,
Never thought. Yes.
Sir, in the code it is clearly written that it should be opening outwards, and the wordings fire openable panel, open in case of fire and do not obstruct. Even they have mentioned that it should be 25 mm letter height shall be marked on the internal side. Panels पे दिया है और 600 mm के अंदर sprinklers होना चाहिए for the facade glass. That is clearly mentioned, sir.
Right. The thing is, I'm talking on operational part of it. Number one is operation of these, opening of these windows. Somebody has to open it manually. Okay. Now, if that happens during office working hours, is okay. If it is not happening in the office working hours, who goes there to open it? Number two, if you are sending some guards, will do that. Is it visible rather? No. So now thing is, if it is just like so many ifs and buts are there, because fire can happen, and if there is a fire in a building, do we expect the fire people not to enter there? They have to enter there to what to do? Venting out the buildings or fighting the fires? Sprinkler is there. You may say that okay, sprinkler is within that particular distance, it is functional, then there is no need for anybody to get into the building. If sprinkler is functional, probably it will take care of that, it will control the fire. But then again, the smoke is going to be there to ventilate that smoke. Somebody has to go there, and again, after they ensure that fire is under control or it's not very dangerous to be there. They can use the PSX and probably go. Yes.
But sir, openable window should be, we can integrate with the smoke detectors. Maybe in case any smoke, the immediate openable window will, there is no need of somebody open this.
One minute. This is what, we can do that probably, but is it feasible? Every window you have to have a detector connected to a detector in that particular area. This is what. Now thing is, I mean, which of the ventilators you are going to open, which of the windows you are going to open. Maybe, see, have you, if you set fire to one of the particular building like this, in different wind direction, you try to have demonstrators
on this point,
yes.
it is not possible to have an integration, because suppose there is a building which is having a 16 floor, 18 floor, 20 floor. What will be the logic to means to open these windows out of outside detectors? You need to agree. That is a very critical issue.
But
Agreed. Chaturvedi sir, agreed.
But I am not, because there is some issue in, suppose there is a zone wise, floor wise loop system is there right now in addressable. So you can one floor you can connect this.
Let me, I'm going to touch upon
Floor wise, you are having a higher floor.
So this is the one of the possibility in case openable window how to.
Because I have practically seen this type of window openings are given, and what people doing, they simply lock these windows after few days or few months due to people start spitting or throwing something else. So these facade windows are being generally closed by somebody after design stage. So my suggestion is that why we are
1 minute. Let me complete that. I'll take another 10 minutes that, because I have got certain more factors in this case. The windows, when you open them, do you open them normally or you keep them closed? If you leave them open normally during the daytime, your air conditioning will be affected. So what are the standing instructions in any building for that matter? Okay, let us assume they are closed normally. Now Now, what is that? We have seen if there is a fire in a building, the smoke is going to be there, and suppose that fills the floor. Then what is that we are going to do? Do we have a smoke management system or smoke venting system? How we can have it? That is second thing. I'm going to try to suggest something on that. Now you got a central AC system. What is that? You got chilled air, and you got AHUs at different locations, which are supplying to specific areas. Now, in large floor plate areas, you may be having this, and you don't have segregation or separation at the below the ceiling level. It's a full large area is a common. You may be having 2 or 3 or 4 AHUs, but then you don't have that thing. So now, what could be the solution for that? Solution can be to create number of AHUs to cater to the smaller areas. And whichever area gets a fire signal or a fire is there, smoke is generated there, then we create a facility that the same AHU which is supplying cold air to that comes in a mode so that it acts on a reversible mode and starts taking out the smoke or venting out that hot air from that same area. You can use the same ducts, no problem. But only that's what. When it will be possible, not that you, for whole building, you need huge size AHUs. I don't think that's required. So if you divide the floor plate into number of zones, and each zone, we cannot divide. I don't want to suggest to divide it physically. Let it be divided at ceiling level. The drop curtains with a fixed glass, whatever glass you are fitting on the wall, glass facade, you can have the drop curtain sort of thing, maybe 3 feet, 4 feet, whatever is, so that people can cross through down below without any problem, and that creates a coffer at the ceiling level. So now that's what you will be able to hold that smoke into that coffer. It will not spill to the other areas.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
And because you are using the same AHU which was supplying air to that, you are using that in a reverse mode, and you are throwing that out of the building, then you have to have a duct system, vertical shaft, or maybe you have got the end of the wall, or maybe centrally. I don't know. That designer or architect has to look into that. But there is a feasibility. Now, smoke venting is feasible only in this manner. Divide it into smaller zones. Each you have the air conditioning for each zone separately, and probably it is going to be more effective in that way. And each zone may be independently made to operate in exhaust mode, so the replenishment of the air will come from other zones. You need not replenish the air, and probably that could be done, that you don't replenish it not from the adjacent zone, you do it from the farthest zone. Yes. And you can even calibration can be done that the zone plus adjacent 2 zones may act in a exhaust.
Nowadays, sir, software is coming, smoke modeling. It can be easily done by this using software. Sir, my next question is to you related to firefighter life safety. How to ventilate, when to ventilate. Ventilation is a very critical operation during firefighting and rescue operation. And what are the risks of ventilation to firefighter?
Yes. So the ventilation, as again you have mentioned it, well, first is the feasibility. Can you do it? If the building is on fire, it is already full of smoke and this thing, you cannot enter an area because you do not know the internal sort of a setup, and you cannot reach a window if it is full of smoke. So, risking my fireman's life for doing so, this, I will never be in favor of this. If you are able to get into that area, and it is safe enough to do that, you can do, otherwise I don't think so. You can do it externally, but externally only feasibility will be there if you have got ALP, aerial ladder platform, and going to that height. Well, you may go up to say 70 meters, 60, 70 or 90 meters at the most. What you do for building after that? That means
I have seen firefighters are doing ventilation while firefighting operation, and especially for facade building, they are doing to enter this building or to smoke management, or sometimes they used to break the walls or windows. with hammer.
Mr. Rakesh, Mr. Rakesh, I will tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. So we had number of fire incidents where firefighting was being done. Maybe your second floor or third floor fire was there. It is fully ablaze fire, and we were doing firefighting from the roof of other adjacent building. And people were trying to enter the building from the main staircase and main corridor, and they were able to almost access the fire floor or fire room. And what we saw that the moment somebody uses a jet from the openable window from external side, the total heat and smoke, everything was pushed into the inside the building. So everybody who were there thinking that things are under control and we spray water will be controlling the fire in just 2 minutes. They were in such a situation that they were affected immediately by heat and smoke. They had to run back to save their life. So that sort of things is what? Ventilating a fire or fighting fire from different directions simultaneously. We have to have a total sort of synchronization altogether. बाहर से हम भाई jet लगा रहे हैं, अंदर में people are there in the corridor, they should get away.
Yes.
And for small duration. So this is what? These are the basic operational features, operational requirements. We cannot, one is doing ventilation, one is trying to fight fire, it cannot be there. Because our life, all life will be in danger.
Yes,
if
sir.
we do it in wrong.
Yes, sir. What is the risk in forcible entry firefighting? Suppose there is a building room. Generally, there is a fire and firefighter in full of their, you can say, josh. They lose their hose and they break the these type of and do forcible entry.
I'll tell you again. Rakesh, I'll tell you. We had a fire in a sort of you can say a mall. There were multiple number of shops. There were multiple shops like a grocery shops and different shops in one of the floor in a market in Karolwal. So fire people, they went into that and fire was fully ablaze. But still it's in a situation, if you open the door of the shutter, you will get suddenly totally flames will come on you. Now what we did, what the firemen need to be trained, this is tactical things which we have to learn is, simply they just used a crowbar, pushed into the side of the rolling shutter fitting, that the groove is there through which the rolling shutter is moving, made slight opening and put the branch over there, jet over there.
Yes.
Just in 1 minute, because when water goes inside, without creating an opening, the steam is creating so much of firefighting effect that within half a minute things will be under control. You will not get that sort of heat and flashover, and that sort of things will not be there. So that's what. Now this is what, when you go into such area, do not open it suddenly. Do not open the door because you may end up in having that sort of situation. So, well, that is what again situation depending upon the how and what you can do. But people, as you say, this is a real danger to us. If suddenly somebody opens something and you, because maybe that some window is open on the other side or the glass is broken and you open internally and suddenly you have the total flames coming on you. So now having the branches.
Flashover is there. Flashover is there.
And next thing is, when we are expecting anything like this, everybody must be with the protective clothing. We cannot think of going in the normal, carry podcast, shout out here, no, dangri. We have to have fully protective clothing because, and we have learned it the hard way. Sudden flash, people have come across a lot of burn injuries. But if they are protected in that sense, then that will not happen. So when we expect anything to happen like this, never allow our firemen without protective clothing to enter these areas.
In this same context, next question is how technology can be a game changer to fire safety, or you can say to mitigate the risk of flashover and backdrop to firefighter. So that we can come to know what is the current situation inside the confined space.
I will suggest to you something on that. Okay, we have been attending fire in the congested areas, 4 to 5 story buildings, markets which a fire engine cannot go there, and we can see the fire is there through the window or one of the thing it is coming out. Now you cannot pitch a ladder over there because of electrical wires and so many other things, and shades and parapet walls. So now what you do? So get into the other side of the building, try to go there and hit from there, because these buildings are so dangerous. If you enter that and the fire is going on for more than 5 or 7 or 10 minutes, collapsing of the building is inevitable. So we will be putting our life to danger. So now what is the technology we are talking about? So the thing is, can we or don't we think that we can create nowadays extended branches? Like we have got, okay, ladders are there with us. We were talking about last few days back, myself, Mr. Mishra, we were talking about this. Cannot we think of having 35 feet extension ladder and a fixed pipe on the side, which is terminating into the nozzle over there on the top, and which is, we can have a connection when you extend it fully, so we can join the two, or flexible hose can be there, and feed it from the bottom. So that ladder, which is pitched along a window, you feed it from the bottom without putting life of your fireman at risk. Can it be possible? Yes. We have got now Cpcb pipes available with us, different sizes. We have got 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, like that. We can use for our sanitation and other areas. Very strong, lightweight, strong enough. Now, can we think of using that 20 feet long pipes with a 120-degree nozzle at the end and a male coupling on the other end, so that using it as a extended branch, 20 feet means it can go up to second floor, easily third floor. So we can lift it from the bottom. Now what I want to say
nowadays lot of hydraulic platforms are coming with the same concept you are saying, with thermal imaging camera. You can see at the ground floor what is the temperature, what is the seat of fire, all things are there. So, and as well as if some fire department is not able to buy this type of technology, so thermal imaging camera can be a game changer. And now drone will take time, in my opinion. What is your opinion?
No. See, what I'm trying to tell you is not going to take time. You get the material tomorrow, you can get it ready. You can make it. Okay. Yeah. Number two, what you are saying is 100% correct. I have spoken to these fellows. There was somebody last about 1 month back. There was something on our mail. Somebody having the thermal imaging camera and all that. I spoke to this person saying that, what do you have anything which can be used as an attachment on our phone? Camera, thermal imaging, small camera, which can be attached. We can use our phone screen to see that, view that. He said, yeah, yes, sir. He said, nowadays, a camera is available for about 50,000 rupees. 50,000 rupees, that camera is available. And probably that gives you all the information. Even you can have the inspection of the hotspots, electrical switches, electrical cables, and maybe during the firefighting. My idea was to have something provided to the firemen or people going into the fire, so that they can understand what is the temperature on the other side.
Yes, absolutely.
Is their condition so dangerous? So this equipment now, earlier in our days we had 10 lakh or 15 lakh worth of it, huge equipment. Nowadays it's small equipment, handheld, probably costing is, if it's 50,000, and that can transmit the images to the other side, also to the control room or control van or wherever you want. So that is something. Now I have in fact written to this person and told them to come out with something which can be used as an attachment to the phone for a fireman, so that when they are going on firefighting on a call, they can have that and when entering into that area, they can easily locate how far is the area clear, or they having somebody in the smoke, and probably that can help us not only in saving our own life but saving others' life also.
Even though what is the reason we are taking a lot of time in close the fire? Because we are not able to identify the seat of fire, and we are applying water here and there for long duration. It will be a game changer to identify the seat of fire also.
Dr. Rakesh, I tell you, I can admit it, we end up most of the time causing more damage to the property by water than it is caused by the fire.
Yes, sir.
And reason for that is because of the hot smoke, we cannot enter that area. We either wait the fire to burn and come in front of us, then we tackle it. Yeah. Because all these, we talk about venting a fire. See, if you vent a fire at the right time, in a right way, you can avoid all the smoke, all the heat generation, all the damage due to fire. So it is not only the saving life, it is saving huge loss of property.
Yes.
I can give 3-4 examples.
Because direct loss due to fire is 40%, 60% is indirect loss due to this water application and salvage and this other thing.
No, you are much liberal in accepting that. I say more is not 60%, is more 80% or 90%.
Yes. Nowadays it become 80% because costly items are there. Earlier it was a study because nowadays sophisticated buildings, equipment, laptop, PC, all things, furniture, interiors. This includes a lot of cost. You are
Mr. Rakesh, I'll tell you one more incident I'll quote. We have recently on our this WhatsApp group, we have quoted one cotton mill fire in Rajasthan. That was there few days back. It's a huge storage or maybe a mill. In that, we are having huge doors on one side, and we can see 3 or 4 doors, alternate doors, they are open, and fire in total big shed. And same thing I experienced in Delhi. It's about a half a kilometer long container depot shed in Delhi, Okhla depot. The fire was in 2010, a few months before my retirement. So it was a major fire in that, not major, it's a serious fire in that category. You got 26 huge doors, about 5 meters wide doors, rolling shutter doors. 26 of them on one side, 26 of them on the other side. One supply side, one is the loading side. Now, in that, the fire started on third door, it went up to almost half of it. The reason again was the same thing. I'm talking about the smoke venting. If the smoke venting was there and segregation in that particular storage shed, at that level, in every door, probably it would not have gone beyond one particular section. Out of 26, it would have remained confined to 1, 2, or 3 sections. Not more than that. What we needed was natural ventilation. Somebody should open it, or automatic ventilation. Something has to be done. And then again, copper.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
And, my next question is to you, sir, related to building construction. Earlier, building construction was like that. Ceiling height were much more higher. Nowadays, ceiling height is reducing due to the high-rise building, and the population density increase and the cost of property has increased. So these risks, we live with these risks. So design, fire safety, smoke ventilation, how you are looking forward to, means we need to improve on it, like fire smoke barriers.
Rakesh ji, problem is, I cannot improve it. My saying so, it doesn't matter at all. Nobody bothers on this. This is the problem. I mean, I am rather suffering on this account. The height of the building, I have seen the buildings in other, maybe Singapore, etc. We had gone for seeing the ventilation of some of the buildings. The basement height was around more than 4 meter plus. So they were using axial fans for this. And they really catered to that requirement. I mean, you can visually, you can see that things are going to work because height of the basement is little more. Otherwise, if you have ducts, 3 meters only, 2.4 meter, 2.5 meter, in that you have got duct, your HUs, and you have got, so not HUs, you have got ducting below that, you have got the beams below that. So you have hardly anything left below that, in that basement, or in the, even the floors. Below the fall ceiling, how much is there available to us? So that is, amount of smoke getting generated in a fire is going to take more time if the building height is more, and less time available to us if building height is less, floor height is less. So it's very much directly relevant. So now it is, your saying is correct 100%. Lesser height, there's going to be more in problem because of smoke generated in a building, and more so is the need for local ventilation of the zone-wise ventilation of smoke. Unless we do that, and whatever we are talking about doing through your other systems and probably technical solutions provided, area where if you are not using proper grade of copper wires, then these facilities are not going to operate. So they are a problem. So that's fine. Maybe that you're right. Yeah, we can extend to anything. Whatever information comes to us, we can share with them. But these are the areas probably I think I was thinking. Now,
Sir,
okay,
my next question is to you. NBC has defined the air circulation cycle, whether the cycle is defined as per the risk hazard of occupancy, or simply they give a thought that this much of air cycle is required for any type of occupancy. Do you get my point, sir? Sharma sir?
yes.
Do you get my point?
No.
NBC has defined air circulation, whether it is designed as per the hazard risk fire load calculation, or simply they define a limit, or they define this much cycle is required. Whether is it right approach, or we need to relook it on same. The air circulation cycle need to be defined as per the risk or density of smoke. Suppose there is a factory which is generating PVC, involved in PVC manufacturing. So density of smoke and volume of the smoke will be much more higher than in comparison to the residential building. But the air cycle is defined as per the risk or material or the process is being done in building, or it is something else, sir. Please, we want to get insight. You are mute, sir. I don't know who is speaking, but he is on mute.
Okay. Oh yes. Now I lost my connection of the laptop, so I was not able to hear you. Can you just repeat what you want?
Sir, my question is that air circulation or air cycle defined in NBC is as per the risk. Suppose there is a PVC manufacturing industry or PVC storage is there, the density of smoke will be different in comparison to other residential area or in a car parking area, you can say.
See, the thing is that ventilation is basically for the life safety. Okay, so that means that that is for the health or hygiene point of view. So that being the reason, I think what we talk about is something other than that. That has to continue. There is a fire or no fire. But if there is a fire, then we are talking in those conditions that we need not the total system to be stopped or total system to be affected. We want that zone, the problem has occurred. Only that area we want certain venting arrangement to be provided. Others may continue or they may stop depending upon the design of the system. Okay. So my feeling is that whatever is mentioned in our NBC for natural ventilation of the areas, basements and maybe other different occupancies, there is a different requirement for that. Because not many people are there, they have to breathe fresh air, that much is required. But here we are talking about in case of fire, ventilation in case of fire, that is over and above whatever is provided there. So either the system should function in a different mode at the time, especially in the affected area. Okay, that is my feeling. I have talked about that smoke venting or smoke management, that if some area is affected by fire, that zone has to be managed in a different way so that we are able to take out the smoke from that area so that it doesn't spread to rest of the building. Secondly, the fire is visible to us. Anybody in the building can go and take care by using a hose reel or extinguisher, whatever is. If the things are clear to that extent, they can do something. Or even fire brigade will be easy for fire brigade also. Otherwise, it's not feasible.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for being with us. Now, I am going to give chance to the participant who might be waiting for their questions. However, I have covered text messages are coming and pop up during my our conversation. However, it is fair enough to give them chance to speak with you and if they can share their query and questions to you. So now all participant is requested Now dais is yours. We are highly thankful to R.C. Sharma sir for sparing precious time and sharing his experience, and none other than our brotherhood Swastik Jadeja, who is doing this regime. This is the series number 4 today we are having. Please, all participant is requested to please share your query, or one by one you can ask question to R.C. Sharma sir.
Hi, Sharma sir.
Yeah, welcome, please tell me.
Yeah, this is Mahesh from Pune.
Yeah.
We can use this fireball during this fire incident.
Say again.
Hello.
Can you repeat your question, please?
Yes, sir. This is Mahesh Pune. We can use the fireball during the fire incident.
Fireball.
This is the new technology coming in the market now. Yeah.
Well, maybe it could be useful in only in certain cases, but it cannot be as a firefighting sort of gadget for the fire department, because
This is not approved by NBC.
no, that's not. NBC doesn't approve these things. I mean, you have to get it approved from BIS in case you submit certain things. But thing is, you have to throw this ball when it's the flames are there in that exactly. And if you miss your probably aim, it may not be useful to that extent. So there are so many factors which are whether you can go that close to that fire, whether you can see the flames, you are in that position at the time. Well, if you are in that position, then probably hose reel could be good enough. In that sense, a glass of water, jug of water could be good enough. So this is what I mean. If something is there to take a particular risk, it could be useful, but you cannot generalize it in that sense.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Hi, Sharma sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Hey.
So my name is R.P. Singh and I work for Flipkart India for the East region.
Okay.
My question is that, sir, building collapse remains a very serious hazard for the firefighters.
Yes.
Being a firefighter or being a incident commander, when I reach to the site, my first question is that what all information I am supposed to have. My first question is that what all information I am supposed to have, that what all risk or what is the quantum of risk I have for the collapse of this building if I enter into it for firefighting. And second question I have that, do we have a...
Let me come to the first question first. 1 minute.
Yes.
The thing is, it's very difficult really to because it is something when somebody comes to you, a patient is coming to a doctor, he says, क्या मुझे देख के बता सकते हो कि सर मैं क्या प्रॉब्लम है मुझे? It is not possible, because the thing is, a building may be a simple small building, a jhukki. The building, a jhukki is on fire, and that person was filling LPG from a bigger cylinder to smaller cylinder. No, it's just immaterial of anything. The building type, it may be an old building, it may be a new building. What is being done inside, you are not aware, I am not aware. What are the materials stored there? Whether LPG cylinder is there or not, whether any other combustible material. I mean, we will not be knowing that. The construction of the building, year of construction, whether it is using exposed steel girders, whether it is a load-bearing walls or concrete structure, isn't it? Concrete frame building will not collapse that easily. But again, the thing is, depending upon so many factors, you by entering in that area, you should know which type of buildings are there. They are normally constructed buildings, engineered structure. They are supposed to be staying little longer. But unauthorized colony, unauthorized area, overnight may be very difficult. And old buildings, maybe they may be collapsing in a few minutes, 5-10 minutes. Okay, so that is the thing. I mean, when you have got a situation like this, in a a building, in an industry, you can know what are the hazards inside. You can prepare for that. But when you go in a civil area, in a building like that, you are not sure, you are never sure. We have seen the places where, just like a normal building, people are going and it's a basement. Suddenly, half a staircase, step ladder, and you just, because of smoke, you don't see anything. When you step inside, you go into the basement. So, there's nobody to tell you in most of the cases. The person is not there. Fire is in the night. You go and break open the shutter and you try to fight the fire. You don't know what is inside. How long the fire was going on. So many factors are there. But yes, if you study the normal standard basic of a sub-officer course, signs of building collapse, there you'll find it. Horizontal cracks are more dangerous than vertical cracks. Bulging of walls, temperature, retting, the smoke, the type of smoke coming out of the gaps in between there. So many factors are there, and the experience.
And during duration of building exposed to fire also, you can understand.
Duration of the fire, the first important thing. How long it has been on fire. Yes. The next question. Thank you for this insightful answer. Even my second question is also answered. So I got to know from you that it all depends upon the self-assessment. Okay. Right. And pre-information what we have. Thank you. Okay, next.
Next, please.
मैग्नीफाई ग्रुप कुछ बोलना चाहते हो बट मेरे ख्याल से आपका म्यूट है.
Yes, बोलिए.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Ganesh.
Sir, myself, Ganesh Karadwal, Mumbai Fire Brigade officer. Thank you for your session, sir. It's very valuable for us. But I have one question regarding nowadays COVID centers are provided, means government has declared COVID center has provided in hospitals, in societies. Is it acceptable as per NBC and as per fire prevention law?
No. In fact, nobody is bothered about NBC for these things. This is an emergency arrangement, emergency situation. It's just like pitching in the tents for a Haridwar or maybe Kumbh, something like that. So situation is similarly big. It is all over the country, all over the states. The resources available are overstressed. So you cannot simply look for the NBC at this thing. It's very difficult. It is just to manage the thing somehow. And in that management comes that you somehow create some space for admitting these people and giving some sort of possible medical assistance to them. And probably one of the reasons could be that we are not able to have that sort of electrical safety or other things, other gadgets, whichever is coming, no quality control and things. Maybe that the incidents are happening because of that. But we as a fire officer have to take care of our safety also in that. And we should know aware that what are the risks over there. Added oxygen, added your amount of your maybe sanitizers. These things make things more difficult there. So our own safety, now this is what to do, what do we need to have a protective sort of thing which we should wear and go there. Now, once we are taken care, we are vaccinated twice, then probably things will be much easier. But till that time, I think we have to take care of our health as well. And I've seen many fire service people, my colleagues, ex-colleagues, in Delhi, they also have been attending the fires. Many of them have had the COVID, they came out of it. But some of the unfortunate people in other services, they became a victim of this particular problem. Now this again, but we cannot simply say that we are not going to fight fire because COVID is there in that hospital. But again, we are doing it, trying to see that whatever best way we do have, and we can provide, we can take care of ourselves as a safety for these particular attending those calls.
Yes, sir. Ganesh, I would like to add something in your question that NBC is applicable to these, and the fire is simply a state matter. Fire safety is a state matter. And now we are in pandemic situation, Disaster Management Act is activated. So whatever policies and decisions are being done in keeping view of this pandemic or disaster situation, influence it the authority who is making these decisions or these risks are being increased, we need to manage these risks, increased risk in our means way.
Yes, they are aware of it.
Yeah.
But sir, sorry to say, sir, I have another extra one more question. You sir, in last month, Dream Mall at Bhanduk, means in Mumbai, one fireball has happened, and at that time, on third or fourth floor, there was a means Corona COVID center, COVID hospital, and this is sir, every time if any fire incident can happen, at that time fire officer will be responsible for that incident. Government has declared fire officer will be responsible. I have asked these questions.
Yes, the thing is, unfortunate incident, but there, because it was a running mall previously, it was closed down, and subsequently it was allowed with certain, maybe that somebody wanted to start that hospital because that was the need of the hour, and they came in that garb that we can provide this facility, and it was allowed. But now, main thing in that is, if you are having a building which is already constructed, and you have got a multiple occupancy, then you are not having your own hazard, you are having additional hazard. The fire was not incidentally in this hospital, it was in some other shop in the same area, probably, and then that smoke from that side created this problem. Now, what I want to convey here is that again, the building which was allowed for running that hospital, at least one thing was there, the means of escape. Probably that in the night, some of the doors are kept closed because of security reasons. Security is the biggest problem now everywhere. So now that is, when we talk about hospitals and these areas, I think we have to look into these aspects, whether it is a pandemic situation, COVID, or it is otherwise all throughout. Something goes wrong in a hospital, evacuation is not an easy thing. And in a COVID hospital, it is just forget about it. But still, I appreciate the action taken by the fire brigade people. Even at the risk of their own life, they try to save so many people, and they could also. So that's a great thing. That's what we have in our blood. When somebody is caught in danger, then we try to save him. But now for us, the challenge is to devise something for ourselves that if we can probably do something which is going to probably help us in that matter. Now, in that matter, BSAT, for that matter, if we are having the breathing apparatus on, probably then we will be, to some extent, will be avoiding that because we are not breathing anything from that area. So, probably, but then it's a fire, you have to be in helmet, protective gear. How to do that, how to devise something, now it's for all of us to see. So, it's a challenging situation, no doubt. There is no right solution. कि इसके लिए ये prescription ये है, हमें सोचना पड़ेगा और whatever is available technology or some means or modification in available facilities or what we can do, then we'll have to look for that.
And
thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, Ganesh, in your question, same thing, like the buildings which are still having more than 100 years standing, we can't do anything. They can collapse anytime, and we need to go there and save the life of people. Even though we don't have any right to say this building is, means you can't display a notice on that building. Being a fire officer, you can't, that is unsafe building. There are a lot of implications are there. So now next question is coming to, somebody is trying to speak, please go ahead.
Sir, yeah, namaskar sir. मैं मिलिंद शाह मेरा आई पे माय ह्यूज रिगार्ड्स टू आशीष सर एंड अदर डिग्निटरीज सर मैं फायर सेफ इंडिया का एक टीमर हूँ वंस फ्री इंडिया का भी टीमर हूँ मेरा क्वेश्चन सर आपसे ये है फायर ब्रिगेड ऑफिसर्स को लेके कि अपने फायर ब्रिगेड ऑफिसर्स आग बुझाने के लिए बिल्डिंग में घुस जाते हैं स्मोक इनहेलेशन करते हैं अपनी जान पे खेल के लोगों की लाइफ बचाते हैं क्या उनके लिए पीए सेट काफी है जस्ट टू सेव मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि after every dousing of fire, not the fireman should take the extra oxygen supplement with the help of additional oxygen supply van or a fixed facility of oxygen supply at the fire station office every time, sir. Is it not compulsory? It should be made compulsory, sir.
Okay, the thing is, see, we had a big fire in Jawalahedi in 90s. And all our fire brigade people, because of major fire, all people from all outside also were involved in that. It continued for 2 days. and it was PVC waste market, huge acrid smoke of PVC was there. And most of the fire people were affected by that because long hours of exposure. And then got all of the fire people tested for that, the exposure hazard. And mind it, after about 1 week time, they were again sent for the same thing. Whatever effect was there, that was gone after about a week. So anyway, I mean, I don't say that we can go ahead with this, but yes, if something like that we are taking for ourselves, then it's perfectly right. We should do that if facilities are available. One thing I'd like to say here, Rakesh Chaturvedi has mentioned one good question is brought. Old buildings and high-rise buildings also in the congested areas. I have given a suggestion earlier also for Delhi, it was given rather, that the sprinkler is the best option for these areas. But sprinkler as per the norms 15105 is not feasible to be provided. So can we think of having a gravity operated sprinkler system in such buildings with a maybe 2,500 liter or maybe 5,000 liter of terrace tank on one of the highest building in the area, and probably connect to the sprinkler system in the adjoining buildings on that. And maybe CPVC pipes can be used for that. There is no problem on that count. So if that sprinkler provided with 5,000 liter water is just like one fire engine water, and sprinkler is known to be not more than 2 to 3 sprinkler operate in a fire. So there will be, because pressure is not much, gravity pressure maybe 1.5 kg, or maybe if the one floor above that, 2 floor, maybe only half a kg. That's good enough for operating a sprinkler in case of such buildings. So that can be useful, I'm sure about it. So if we just conduct some tests and approve that this is going to function, I'm sure it's going to function for such building which you cannot have a normal standard sprinkler facilities, but it will certainly save the life of firemen, because that system is having a connection at ground level with a fire service inlet. You connect your hose and just forget about it, because water will go on to the seat of fire. Not much damage due to water, and probably this system is only solution for the old buildings, old congested markets, and we can think of providing an overhead tank in the vicinity, maybe not too huge capacity, and only for this system, and connect it for the possibility of having a fire service inlet at the maybe outside the market somewhere. So this is one of the ideas I want to be. Why this? Because if my fireman goes into such a building which is dilapidated, which is having a heavy fire load, it may collapse. I don't want my people to die. So if this building is having this facility, I can just feed it from the ground level. The fire hose can be connected, and it will go directly onto the seat of fire. So this is the only solution which I find that we can make it is a sort of a generalized thing, but we have to conduct some tests somewhere. I spoke to, in fact, our PC, our Gandhi Nagar University, IIT Gandhi Nagar.
Sir, excuse me, Mr. Madhav, please आप अपना बंद कीजिए sharing.
और ये I want to add,
Mr. Madhav,
Mr. Milind, you have said that additional oxygen supplement is required after firefighting or smoke inhalation. My opinion is different on this, because if you go to the analysis, if there is a 1 liter of oxygen and 450 liter of carbon monoxide, our heart is designed in such a way he always to have 250 times carbon monoxide instead of having 1 liter of oxygen. However, both are present. And what is the impact of that higher part of oxygen in our body metabolism reaction will be, जब हम ऑक्सीजन लेते हैं तो ऑक्सी हीमोग्लोबिन बनता है. जब कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड ऑलरेडी filled within our body, as you said during firefighting operation, we are going to inhale smoke. And Sharma sir told that breathing apparatus that is to protect our lungs, respiratory system to avoid such inhalation. Suppose if inhalation happened and you are going to give more oxygen supplement to body, then what will happen? This carbon monoxide is definitely going to attach with this additional amount of oxygen which you have input externally, which which is going to worsen the condition of body due to high generation of carboxyhemoglobin. Otherwise, if you have not added this, it will going to settle down with coming few days or weeks or in a month. That is my submission.
I fully agree with you, sir. But the fireman की life जो है, every day fire को douse करना है, तो उसका कुछ ना कुछ solution तो चाहिए.
फायरमैन को एडिशनल ऑक्सीजन लेने के लिए डेली फिजिकल फिटनेस करना है. एक्स्ट्रा ब्रीथिंग लेगा तो ऑक्सीजन मॉर्निंग में उठ के आपको 21% ऑक्सीजन प्योर मिलता है. सुबह जल्दी उठने के लिए जो बोला जाता था पहले, फायरमैन आज भी उठते हैं जो 4 बजे 5 बजे बिफोर सनराइज. व्हाई? दिस इज द रीजन दे डू टेक फिजिकल एक्सरसाइज, इनहेल मोर, fill their lungs and increase the lungs capacity. That is there. Naturally you need to have this system instead of having artificial medicine or supplements. It's not going to work with your body.
Yes, I think that was good reply to that. Anybody else?
Sir, Neeraj here. ये अभी आपने जो आइडिया बताया सर, आई जस्ट एक इसमें बता रहा हूँ. देयर वाज अ वेरी ओल्ड फ्लैट्स, 3-4 फ्लैट्स जहाँ पे ट्रेनिंग के लिए गए थे. व्हाट आई डिड इन दैट फ्लैट वाज कि सबको बोला कि अपना जो बाहर का जो नल है, वहाँ पे पाइप एक लेके आपके घर के हर कोने तक पाइप पहुंचे, इतनी पाइप रखना है, उसको रोल करके क्लैंप पे लगाया. एंड उसके अंदर सर 1-2 फायर तो ऐसी हो गई जो जली और लोगों ने, लेडीज ने आके फटाफट आग को बुझा दिया. फायर ब्रिगेड को बुलाया बाद में, बट दे कुड एक्सटिंग्विश एट द इमीडिएट फेज. जहाँ स्प्रिंकलर्स लगाना काफी मतलब बिल्डिंग में वो शेयरिंग नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, वहाँ पे ये आइडिया दिया था. एटलीस्ट अभी 3-4 फ्लैट्स में बहुत पुराने, वहाँ पे ये हर एक घर के अंदर लोगों ने लगा दिया है. एक नल के टोटी पूरा फिक्स ही कर दिया है, नल के साथ क्लैंप लगा के.
Right. That is good for the residential area where people are living. What I am talking about, or the question was the commercial area, commercial centers, congested areas.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed, sir. Agreed, sir.
We go for firefighting, difficult to, I mean, we risk our life.
Agreed.
That was suggested.
Agreed. Thank you, sir.
नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन प्लीज, इफ एनीबॉडी इज हैविंग. उड़ीसा के सीएमओ थे, वो चले गए हैं क्या? अगर हैं तो बात करेंगे तो अच्छा रहेगा. उड़ीसा के सीएमओ साहब हैं या लेफ्ट कट? एनीबॉडी हु वांट टू स्पीक?
I think so. Thank you very much. You can thank everybody. I think it's okay.
Swastik?
Yes, R.C. Sharma sir, thank you very much for your nice experience sharing to all participants. Dr. Rakesh, chaturvedi sir, and all senior fire officers and participants, thank you very much for your nice sessions. Thank you. Take care.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Thank you very much, R.C. Sharma sir. Like to having a very wonderful day with you. Keep in touch. We will keep in touch with you. And we are always giving you challenges on Safe Bharat by writing different type of questions. Have a nice day. Have a nice weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.